Hello and welcome to the TronCast podcast with me, Tron Jordheim. I'm coming to you today from the Bank of Missouri podcast studio at Ready, the Regional Economic Development, Inc. for Boone County in Columbia, Missouri. And pleased to be working in the new podcast studio. It's pretty nice, pretty nice. So I hope you're having a good day as well. Interesting that the Ready Group has created a podcast studio for their small business entrepreneur members. So I am a member of their hub, which is where the entrepreneurs gather to be able to share working space, to share resources, to share referrals and ideas with each other. And isn't it interesting that a podcast studio is a part of that process, right? Because it is so important for everybody in any kind of business to get the word out about what they're thinking, what they're working on, what they think is next. So, pretty good set of forward-thinking thoughts by Stacy Button and Jay Sparks and the rest of the group here at Ready. So I'm happy to be using the studio for the first time today, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to work great. So I am very grateful to Ready and the Bank of Missouri for putting this together for us. So what about promoting entrepreneurship? Now, whether you are an independent business person, a solopreneur, or whether you work in a small or medium-sized company, or even a large company, what are you doing to promote entrepreneurship? Do you have customers that are small businesses or entrepreneurs that are trying to start something new and interesting or trying to build a business? And are you supporting them? And if you're not supporting them, why aren't you supporting them? I mean, I realize there's a lot of conveniences out there that one can just go to as your default behavior for any service you need. But what are you doing to build up your local economies, to help other entrepreneurs or small businesses grow and thrive so that your community grows and thrives? Because yes, it's great to work with big companies and multinational companies and all that sort of thing when they're providing efficient, effective, seamless services. Absolutely. But what are you doing to support your neighbors and your customer base, which may have a lot of small businesses in it? So my suggestion to you is to take a close look at your customer base. Who's running a small business? Who's an entrepreneur or a solopreneur? What can you do in your business that would give them work, give them another great story to tell about how they help you be successful, and give you some value that you maybe didn't realize you needed or that you could benefit from? So that's what I'd like you to think about today. So one of the assumptions that we often have as people in business is that we should always use the biggest, most cost-effective, widely used systems or vendors or softwares or suppliers or whatever that might be. But that is not always the wisest way to do things, because when you deal with people who are local, either in your customer base or not, you're going to get all sorts of insights that you would not otherwise get from a larger vendor where you may be just a tiny fish. You're also not going to have personal relationships. And I realize in the COVID world, the number of people we actually have personal relationships has shrunk. And I'm not sure you can count seeing people on a weekly Zoom call as a personal relationship, because you never get to see their body language really, or their hand gestures. That's been one of the things that's difficult for me. I was raised by people who use their hands when they talk and are very expressive and use lots of facial expressions. And when you talk with your hands and are very expressive on Zoom calls, you look like a maniac. So I've had to fold my hands, put them in my lap, and control my facial gestures to not be obnoxious on Zoom calls. But that's not authentic. So find some authentic relationships with some of the people in your customer base and some of the people in your community who are offering services or products that you could make good use of. Because if the people in your community are growing their businesses, well, that's got to be good for everybody. So that's my assumption I'd like to challenge today, that you should always use the big solution, use the big company, use the most efficient. Efficiency is not always the best. Often effectiveness is way better than efficiency. And often building long-term business relationships is way better than efficiency. The insight you get, the referrals you get, the compounding power of working together that comes from it is super important. So anyway, that is my speech for you today. And once again, let me thank the Bank of Missouri for putting together this great podcasting studio that we can use here at Ready and at The Hub, coming to you from Columbia, Missouri. We are broadcasting from Sharp End, a very special part of Columbia, Missouri. If you don't know about Sharp End, Google it, Sharp End, Columbia, Missouri. It's been a place for innovative business since the town was founded. So coming to you from Sharp End, just outside of downtown Columbia, Missouri, it's Tron Jordheim. See ya. Take care. Bye now.